What up? What up? Welcome back. Welcome back to the scorecard, the boxing scorecard. You got to bring your scorecard and an explanation. Two big fights. Well, a couple of big fights this weekend, but the two biggest ones we're going to be focusing on today. Starting with the biggest fight in women's boxing history, and it lived up to everything. It was a great fight, one of the greatest fights, not just greatest female fights, one of the best fights, period, that we've witnessed in a long time. Definitely front runner or one of the top candidates for fight of the year so far. Still early, it's only April, but halfway through the year. Of course, we're talking about Amanda Serrano versus KT Taylor. Sold out crowd. First time it was a sold out crowd. First time women headlined a pay per view event, and yeah, man, it was history. I'm very glad that I was able to witness it. And let's get into the details. So the official scorecard: Damien believes that the Serrano got robbed. What was your scorecard though, Damien? Because I'm gonna go through mine. I definitely don't think that she got robbed. Um, can argue it was a close fight, but I don't think so. Other than that, yes, of course, a very exciting fight. What up, Sheila from Atlanta? Amazing. Of course, it was history. So, two of the judges had it, I believe, 96, 94, and one judge had it 96, sorry, 97, 93 for Taylor. One judge had it 96, 94 for Serrano, and the other judge had it 96, 94. Yeah, exactly, for Serrano. I scored it the same as I scored it 97, 93. Now again, this is where sometimes the scorecards, the numbers don't explain everything. It seems like a wide score, but I had four of those close rounds or I marked specifically as close rounds, and out of those four rounds, two of them I gave to three of the out of those four close rounds that I marked, I gave to Taylor. And those were close rounds. So if that would have easily went the other way, it would have been a lot closer. It would have been basically a 1 point difference. All I would have had for Taylor. So that's what I mean. Even though it was 97, 93, it's not as wide as the numbers seem. Because again, just to repeat, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but out of those four rounds that I specifically marked as close rounds, three out of those four, I marked for Taylor. So if you would have switched those around, again, it would have just been a 1 point difference still for Taylor though. So to specifically go through each round, and you guys could give me again, leave your comments in the section about as I'm going through each round if you can remember. So starting with the first one, oh, come on now. First round I gave to Taylor, even though Serrano was coming forward, and that was the other thing too. Serrano was coming up from two weight classes up, um, and she was the one that was pressing forward. Taylor used very good footwork and good quick combinations to get in and out and use lateral movement to as her defense, which was very good. Anyways, first round, my quick notes, and just to give my notes this week are a little bit short. Usually I take time to write the notes and then talk after, but I was talking a little bit extra in between the rounds, so the notes aren't as complete. Anyways, round one, Serrano coming forward more aggressive, but Taylor was landing cleaner. Serrano was coming forward as the aggressor, but Taylor was landing cleaner. The second round was the first round that I marked as a close round for Taylor. It was a close round, but again, Taylor was landed cleaner. Serrano had her hands up like she thought she was winning, but I thought, Taylor, I got to give it to Taylor. The third round, I also marked as a close round, and I also marked as a close round, but I gave it to Taylor. Taylor, she really started to display her good footwork, throwing and getting out of the way. You know, um, Using not specifically the amateur style, but just good boxing, pop, 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 and then getting out of the way. That's why I always said either move or move your head. After you're done, either move. If you're gonna stay there, move your head. If not, just move out the way. That was the third round. Fourth round. I did fourth round. I just thought it was clear for Taylor, even though Serrano was landing some good jabs, good straight punches in general. Serrano was doing that was her main weapon. That was giving her, making it close for her. Serrano was the straight punches, but I still gave that fourth round to Serrano. I mean to Taylor. The next three rounds is what I gave to Serrano. The next 3 rounds I gave to Serrano. Round five, Taylor. Oh, round five, round five. This is, the fight was good up to that point, without round five, but round five is when you saw heart. And, you coaches out there and people that have been in the ring, heart is something that you can't teach. You either have it in you and you don't. No coach can give it to you. Taylor almost got stopped. Serrano almost stopped her, like literally almost stopped her. I don't think if the referee, the way that in that fifth round, the way that Taylor was kind of not on shaky legs and caught a couple of bomb shots in there. You guys know I'm all about safety first. I don't know. I wouldn't have been mad if the referee jumped in to stop it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about it right now. I got the highlights on my other laptop right here. But I don't know. I don't know. That was a good round. That fifth round right there. Serrano almost stopped her. Almost stopped her. Almost stopped her. That was very good. Very good by Serrano. But she couldn't close it out. Taylor weathered the storm, and this is the thing too. This is where it shows you're in shape. Like the faster you recover, like the better shape you're in, the faster you can recover if you do take a big shot or a couple of big shots. Round six, gave to Serrano. Uh, uh, um, Taylor boxed okay, but still Serrano won that round. She still had some of the momentum from round five. Slow down a little bit. I still gave the round to Serrano, but Taylor actually did box very good, and that's because you're conditioning. No matter what, like the better conditioning you are, if you do take a good shot, the faster you'll recover. So that I think that shows how good of a shape that Taylor was in, because she was looking very shaky in that fifth round. And for her to come back the way she did in the sixth, even though Serrano was still coming forward, like I said, they did give the sixth round to Serrano still. Um, but Taylor came forward. Round seven, I marked as a close round, and I gave that round to Serrano also. Round seven. My notes for round seven specifically. What up? What up? What up, Sanchez? My notes for round seven. Taylor is slowly coming back though. That was my quick notes. I wish I would have wrote more, but that was my quick notes for round seven. I gave it to Serrano, but I marked it as a close round, and my notes for that was Taylor is slowly coming back. That's exactly what she did. Um, round eight. Round eight, I gave to Taylor because the last round I said she boxed and slowly was coming back. Round like she just kept up on that momentum. Now I'm not sure if it's a combination. It is a combination of Serrano kind of going away from what was successful for her in the early rounds, which was really stalking her, cutting her off, and landing those straight punches. After the knockdown, or not the knockdown, after she had Taylor, on shaky legs in that fifth round, instead of the momentum carrying on for Serrano, it almost kind of went the other way, and Serrano kind of slowed down, and Katie Taylor was picking up the momentum after that. Again, that's just showing heart and smarts. Um, so we're in the eighth round right now. Yeah, I gave that eighth round to Taylor because yeah, she boxed and moved around clearly. Round nine, the last two rounds, round nine specifically, also gave to Taylor. And just what I said about Serrano, she's not boxing at all. She's just walking and trying to bomb. Like way she was boxing in 7, 8, 9, 10, not 7, 8, 9, 10, and 8, 9, 10 is not the way she was boxing in the early part of the round. So yeah, I'm not sure if she caught a couple of maybe good shots in there, and that might have slowed her down. But I don't know. Some she didn't. I don't think she boxed as well in the later part of the half. in the later part of the fight than the earlier part. Steven pieced up Valdez. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that one in a second. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to that one in a second. And round 10, I marked it as a close round. I gave it to Taylor, but I did mark it as a close round. Oh, I didn't write any comments for that one. They both left it all in there. You always hear that last round, leave it all in the ring. They definitely left it in the ring. Um, again, this is not just one of the best female fights I've seen. This is one of the best fights, period, that I've witnessed a long time. So much respect to these two girls, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. They also said, I was glad to see, these girls, man, they get in there and mix it up. Usually when there's a close fight like this, especially with two fighters at the high level, whoever wins, when they're on the microphone after, when they're on the microphone after, I'm gonna get to your list in 1 second. When they get to the microphone after and they ask them about a rematch with that close opponent, they'll say something like, talk to my team and blah blah blah. Katie Taylor's like, yeah, let's run it back in the UK too, which is gonna be even crazier. Wow, they're gonna fill up 90,000 people in that Wembley Stadium for the rematch with Serrano and Taylor. That would be crazy. That's gonna be crazy. And there you have it. There you have it. Let's go to your list here. This was your how you scored it, Sheila. Okay. You gave round 1 to Taylor, 2 to Serrano. Rounds 4. Okay, I'll just name it. You gave rounds 1, 4, 7, 9 to Taylor, and Serrano you gave 2, 4, 8. Okay. This match was much better than Stevenson and Valdez. Yes, it was. Um, yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm gonna get to your question in 1 second, too, Vince. My man Vince in the chat too. Great decision to have her in a home, have it in the homeland. Yes, it is. Vince, what are your thoughts on Amanda's shoe choice? Given Taylor is known for footwork, you think she'd want to try or choose something lighter? Looked like she had concrete shoes on. That great question. I'm very glad you said that because I wouldn't have thought of that. Thank you very much for that, Vince. Um, Serrano, she usually wears Jordans. That's her shoe choice. That which is very interesting. She wears Jordans for all of her fights. It wasn't just this one. Um, Very good observation. Yeah, Taylor took advantage of that because the thing with basketball shoes, they're made for hardwood floors, so they're thicker. The sole is thicker, which makes them that much more heavier. So you're not as light on your feet. And so yes, that with Taylor's great footwork, that little bit of advantage, having that lighter feet, and plus her amateur background, so she's used to being on her toes with the lighter shoes, with the lighter feet. That again, great observation, Vince, because that little thing right there was the difference. That was a big difference. Damien says she's a Brooklynite. She came out in sneakers. Like I said, that's her choice of shoe that she comes out to all the time. Different color J's, the 11s. Again, they're good stylish shoes. I like those to maybe to walk around in, but that made them that much slower. It made her that much slower, especially like I said in the later part of the rounds when she wasn't able to not able to, but she wasn't cutting her off. She was just following her around in a circle. And Taylor took advantage of that, man. Taylor, she put on that's how you're supposed to box out of adversity. For any boxer out there, like it's one thing to look good when you're already looking good and you haven't gone through anything, but it's one thing to have a close fight, get caught with a punch on the verge of being stopped, take a couple of deep breaths in the middle of the storm, weather the storm, and still come back to get back on course after. Easier said than done, but shouldn't she also have tried to throw more body shots to slow Taylor down? Yes. Exactly. Serrano's main, I mentioned this before, Serrano's main thing that was helping her when she was doing good was her straight punches. She was doing good jabs and good crosses. Those were the main ones that were landing. In that fifth round, when she almost stopped her, that's when she actually mixed it up. She came with the high lows, boom, 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 and then caught her with her few hooks in there. And that's how she had Taylor messed up, because Taylor couldn't, she didn't know where they were coming from, just getting caught, legs all wobbly. Yes, if she would have went to the body, it would have made it easier. But you just mentioned it yourself, the good footwork, the light good footwork to that Taylor had. It's hard to land a body shot when someone's constantly moving. And Taylor didn't really give Serrano a chance to throw those body shots, because when Taylor would stood there, Taylor never really stood her, even though her face was bloodied up from a lot of those straight punches. But Taylor, when she would come in, it would just be pop, 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 and then she's trying to get out of there. So Taylor never really gave Serrano that chance to throw those body shots. But yeah, again, maybe those heavy ass basketball shoes didn't give her a chance to really sit down on her opponent, right? It's a different level. Katie Taylor showed a different level. Again, those, everything that Serrano was doing worked on the other opponents that she smashes 90% of. But Taylor was just on that other level. And I predicted Serrano to win. I thought what Serrano did in that fifth round, I predicted for her to do. Like, I thought that's how the fight was going to be stopped later on. So I was almost right in that fifth round. All right. Where we go from here? Any more questions? I'm about to move on to the Stevenson and Valdez fight. Anybody got any more questions about Taylor and Serrano, the greatest female fight that we've seen? Speaking of that, yeah, I know. The next great female fight, Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Whew. I really hope that's going to be this summer. And yeah. Anyways, we'll get into that one. I can't wait to get to talk about the details about that. All right, moving on. Let me get my scorecard for Stevenson and Valdez, even though there's no need for the scorecard, because it went just as I predicted. A straight boxing schooling, like masterclass PhD schooling. Actually, no, I shouldn't say PhD. He did have a little bit of scratch. Stevens had a little scratch under his eye after the fight, so it was we'll say university level schooling for Shakur Stevenson. What round did I give to Valdez? What do we got? Okay, yes, Sheila, I will go through your scorecard in 1 second here. You know what would make it easier too, though, if you just say exactly how many rounds you gave to each one. Stevenson, you gave Stevenson 1, 2, 3, 4. Steven and ropes held Valdez. Okay, I got you. Let me go through my scorecard here. My official scorecard was 119-108. Stevenson I had Stevenson winning. There was a couple of close rounds. Which rounds did I mark as close round? Only one close round. 7. Let's go through it real quick. Shaq schooling, boxing, landing high low. He was just coming like everyone. If you watch Stevenson fight, he's very good at judging his distance. Oh yeah, I'll get to that post fight thing after the fight here. Stevenson, if you watch his fights, he's very good at judging his distance with his opponents. Like, just overall in the fight, Valdez was actually doing what he was supposed to do, but Stevenson was just on another level. It's not that Valdez didn't have a game plan. He had the right game plan. He had his hands up. He was moving his head, throwing lots of right hands, but Stevenson was just barely making a miss, like within inches. A few of them were landing, yes, but not enough to even pose any type of threat. Anyways, real quick, just because this is the scorecard, so I'll just go for real quick. Round 1, Shakur schooling, landing high low, cleaner 1-2s. Round 2, Valdez made it close, but not close enough for me to even give it a close round. Valdez landed a few good shots and got the crowd going. Valdez, he had the crowd on his side. Of course, probably helped that he's with one of the number one guys in the sport, Canelo's team. So that helps his popularity a little bit. Um, he loves that 2-1-2 combo, high low. Who you talking about? Stevenson. Yeah, I mean, if it's especially when it's working and that distance with specifically landing those straight punches at full extension. Right, round three. Valdez, who did I round up? Round three. Yeah, round three. I gave round three to Valdez. He landed cleaner and a little bit more, lots of straight rights. And I wrote that was clear for Valdez. That was my notes for round three. Yeah, but I didn't even mark it as close. I ran that. It was clear for Valdez. And the rest of the way was for Stevenson. Round 9 was close. Anyways, round 4, Shaq back in charge, just not giving an opportunity for Valdez to let his offense go. Yep, good landing streaks to the body. Round 5, again for Stevenson. I didn't even write any notes down. He's just schooled him. Round 6. Yeah, I don't even think I finished any notes. Round 7 is what I marked as a close round. I still gave it to Stevenson. And what I wrote was Valdez was working hard and he's trying his hardest. But Shaq's is Shakur Stevenson. His skills are just simply on another level. People that know me and I've heard me say this before. Boxing wise, he's very mature for his age. Like in the things that he does in the ring, like it's not just simply like doing the movement, the way he's doing it, the timing of it, and just the way that he puts some of his punches together. Like I'm not talking about outside the ring. I don't know him personally, so I never met him before. My boy Vince has met him. Shout out to Vince. But in the ring, he's very mature for his age, man. Like he boxes like an older veteran, and he's only had like 15 fights, 15, 16 fights right now, man. So, and here's the thing, people, a lot of people are going crazy comparing him to Floyd. It's not, of course, you can't compare him to Floyd yet, but this is what these are the similarities that I see. Shakur Stevenson forces you to box at his pace. He's watching you. Future world champ right here. He's watching you. Shakur Stevenson.
You think my new shirt?
Yeah.
And my sweats?
Yeah. They see it.
I got them last night.
They see it. We're talking about the fight right now. Say peace.
Okay. Yeah.
So. Where was I? Stevenson. All right, boy. Lost my train of thought. Future world champ coming in here. So let's get back to it. What was I saying? Yeah, Valdez was doing it. He was doing the right things, but he just couldn't get past Stevenson's level. Oh yeah, I was talking about the maturity level of Shakur Stevenson and the things that he does and his distance. So the grade that I give him, A- only because again you can see the marks that Valdez. Well, I see your comment, Vince. The marks that Valdez. You see the difference in their faces after the fight. Valdez's face was just marked up, and make sure you give credit to Valdez. Stevenson. Oh, I apologize for being all over the place. Now I actually remember what I was talking about. If he's not on your pound for pound list yet, he's climbing his way up, because Valdez was a great one. Just to refresh your memory, Valdez had the knockout of the year last year with his knockout against Miguel Berchelt. And it's funny, and he has Ray Reynoso. I believe either he was coach of the year or runner-up coach of the year last year. The past couple of years, as arguably one of the top guys in the sport. Canelo coaches Canelo too. Stevenson made clear he wanted to make sure of that after the fight too, to mention that he didn't just beat Valdez, but he beat Canelo and Ray Reynoso. Again, if Ray Reynoso's guarded as one of the top coaches in the sport, right? So, and he had no answer. That Valdez had, Again, not that he had no answer. He did have the answer, but he couldn't reach it. He just couldn't. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Graham says Serrano was robbed. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Um, it was, again, to go back to the Serrano run real quick. There was a few close rounds, but like I said, my scorecard was 97, 93. Um, the 97, 93 for Taylor. I had 4 of those close rounds. 4 of the close rounds, I marked 3 out of the 4 for Taylor. If it went the other way, it would have been a lot closer. So, it wasn't like a straight domination. If Serrano dominated it, I could see how people would say it was a robbery, but no, it was called a very close fight where it could have went either way. But yeah, man, Stevenson, I've said this before, man. Oh, and the thing about him and Floyd, Shakur Stevenson is very good at forcing you to fight at his pace. Like Valdez, like he's coming in as a ball of fire, trying to take your head off, kind of like how Isaac Cruz was coming after Javante Davis a couple of weeks ago. That's how he fights. He comes after you like that. But Stevenson, no matter who he's fighting, that's the thing. That's the comparison to Floyd that I see in him. No matter who he's fighting, what they say, styles make fights. Whoever he's fighting, you're gonna fight to my style. That's when you see him in the ring. Like, no, you're not just gonna come at me and go wild. I'm gonna keep you at the distance with these long straight punches. Catch you. You come past this distance here, you're catching a straight one. I'm slipping, boom, boom. My distance, you're trying to throw something. I'm just barely making you miss. And I say this all the time, to the boxers I train. As far as defense, blocking is good, but making the person miss is even better. Because when someone's blocking punches, if you're throwing, like if the person's blocking punches, if you're the one blocking the punches, your opponent still has confidence that, yeah, even though he's blocking them, one of these punches is gonna get through, right? Even though you're blocking them. But if your opponent's throwing a lot and every time they throw, you're making them miss and ducking under, slipping, whatever, what I call it, the boxing equivalent of shooting air balls, even on the bag. Sometimes if I see someone, throwing a punch and they miss the bag, call it an air ball. Anyways, making your opponent miss is better, because it discourages them from continuing to miss. Because at the same time, making you, when you throw a power punch and you miss, that takes more energy out of you than actually throwing and when your opponent actually blocks it. You'd rather your opponent block it because I don't know, for some reason, making the person, when you shoot an air ball, as they say, that takes more energy out of you. Exactly. If they swing and miss, they use unnecessary energy. Exactly. And so that's what Stevenson does with his judging of perfect distance. When you're trying to throw straight punches at him and you're literally coming like within inches of his face, you don't realize it, but it that takes more energy out of you because you're not touching nothing. And again, because Valdez was doing the right things. I don't know how many times I repeated myself, but Valdez was doing the right things. He had both hands up, coming forward, trying to cut him off. And again, with the good footwork. And this was here. Here was the difference in the good footwork of Katie Taylor and Shakur Stevenson. Katie Taylor's good footwork was bouncier and more bouncier on her toes, moving around. Just basically more bouncier, for a lack of a better term. Shakur Stevenson was displaying great footwork. I call it he was walking in his boxing stance. Wish I could demonstrate right now. I gotta make a video on that. Somebody remind me. Walking around the ring, but not walking like how you normally walk, one foot in front of the other. Walking around in your boxing stance, forward and backwards. It seems pretty simple when you just think about it, but to be able to do that in the middle of a fight when someone else is trying to come at you like a tornado, and you're calm enough to keep your hands down and just walk around in your boxing stance and still have perfect distance. Again, these are the things that it's one thing to observe it, man, but to be able to and it's one thing to do it, if you're just sparring or doing it someone against someone that you're better than, but to be able to do that at the highest level is is something special. And that's why I always said Shakur Stevenson, he might not have been there yet, but he's going to be on that pound for pound list very soon, very soon. And much respect to him. After the ring, he got down and proposed to his wife, and that after the fight. What was the question we had before? Oh yes, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw the post fight. Um, there was a post fight. Something happened at the post fight press conference where like Shakur Steven, he's talking on the mic, like just talking all, and then some caught his attention, and he just dropped the mic and went running like in a sprint towards the crowd, and a big some brawl happened. I don't know what happened, but he's safe. Nothing happened to him. I think it was someone in his Anyways, a lot of emotions happen between, especially with the two camps after after a win or loss, whether you want to win or lose. So I think some of that spilled over into the into the hotel lobby. So that was it there. Yeah. Any more questions or comments in the chat about any of those fights there? Um, next week, who do we have next week? Is Canelo next week, or is it Charlo or Castano? Anyways, next couple of weeks are boxing filled. Some exciting fights going on, and yeah, man, I'll be here every Sunday at 11 to talk about the scorecard in detail, not just your random opinion, but detailed opinion. So thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. Much love, much respect. Um, please like it. I know it's annoying saying that all the time, but do me a favor, please like it, share it too if you want. Subscribe. We're on every day at 4. My boy Mike, displaying the top up and coming boxers from around the world that haven't been on display yet. So yeah, check it out every day at 4, and Sundays at 4. We got the knockout of the week. So a couple of prospects for this week. All right, man. Thank you again, and Cedric Sports. I'll see you guys. Peace.